My name is Dr. Assis Malaquias. I'm a professor here at Maritime, and I'm also the chair of the Department of Global Studies and Maritime Affairs. So a little bit about myself. I've been here for 5 years. And prior to coming to this wonderful institution, I spent about 10 years working for the Department of Defense, specifically in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Now, the Office of the Secretary of Defense is very vast, so I was not sitting next to the Secretary. It's a very vast office. I actually worked at an office or an outfit called the Africa Center for Strategic Studies. It's one of the 5 regional strategic centers that the Department of Defense has, basically covering the whole world, spanning the whole world. And I had one of the biggest pieces of it, which is the African continent. And within that, my job was to design a maritime security architecture. So that's what I did. I thought it was going to take me 5 years. It took me about 9 years. But I designed the whole strategic framework that covers the Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea spans from, on the west coast of Africa, of course, from Namibia in the south all the way to Senegal in the north. The United States had a lot of strategic interest in that region because for many years we drew a good percentage of our oil imports from there, about 10% at its height. Of American oil imports came from that region. So we wanted to make sure the region was safe and secure. So my job was to design the architecture that enables us, by us I mean the United States government, to work with our partner nations in the area to make sure that those waters were secure. So that's what I did. And then I came to California, much more relaxed. A much more beautiful setting. No pirates here at the Bay. So yeah, that's what I've been for the last 5 years. So what is Global Studies and Maritime Affairs? That's a very good question, actually. So here at Cal Maritime, basically, we focus on the maritime domain. We train leaders who will do many things within that particular domain. Many of them will focus on driving ships. They actually drive a ship from point A to point B to take our goods all around the world. We also train the engineers who will fix those ships and will, make sure that those platforms are working well as they should. But then on the shore side, we have 2 types of foci, to put it that way. Well, let's not forget oceanography, because oceanography spans shoreside and water. But on the shore side, we have a couple of majors. One of them is the International Business and Logistics, and the other one is the Global Studies in Maritime Affairs. Global Studies in Maritime Affairs, as the name suggests, we focus on the whole world and all of the connections and interconnections between the world and the maritime domain. So we talk about security, we talk about strategy, we talk about the incidences of poverty. We talk about culture and how cultures act and interact with the oceans. Basically, we want to understand the importance of the water, the importance of the oceans, the importance of that vast blue space on humanity. And humanity, I can talk about the society aspect of it, the economic aspect of it, the political aspect of it, the environmental aspect of it, and on and on. So that's what Global Studies in Maritime Affairs is. And it really prepares us to, prepares our students, our cadets, to interact with the world in very very important ways, in ways that really make a difference. Because look at our nation. We are a trading nation, and we trade with the world using what? Maritime highways. So we need to understand that. Are those highways safe? Are those highways secure? Where's our trade going to? Our sailors, when they go just navigating the vast expanses of the oceans, are they safe? What are the conditions, not just on the way there, but when they get to certain places, right? So this is basically what we do. Our cadets tend to go into many areas after they graduate. Many of them go into the public sector. In fact, to be more specific, they become public servants, both in the security sector, in the military. By this, I mean the Coast Guard. A lot of our cadets go into the Coast Guard. A lot of our cadets go into the Navy. Some go into the U.S. Marine Corps. A few of them go into the Army. I had one of them who went into the Air Force. I said, why are you going into the Air Force? You just like the Air Force. I didn't hold that against it. But a lot of our cadets go into that area. Many of them go into the federal government, but as civilians, diplomats, policy workers, and so on and so forth. Many of them stay and work at the state level. A lot of them work in institutions, both public, NGO, institutions at the public level. I have many of my former cadets who are in the private sector. The Port of Long Beach, as you can understand, pretty attractive to our cadets. But basically, in a nutshell, they span the world, and they span all of the sectors that somehow interact or interconnect with the maritime. So a department chair basically wears two hats, two very important hats. One hat is basically the academic hat, and the other hat is the administrative hat. Or put it another way, he has one foot in administration and one foot in a classroom. And the foot in the administration, or the hat, the administrator's hat, basically means that the department has to run smoothly. No drama. The department has to run very smoothly. That is to say, do I have all the faculty I need to offer all the courses that the cadets need to graduate? That's it. Because you come into my department, it's my responsibility to ensure that you have absolutely everything. You have absolutely everything to do the learning that you came here to do. Yes, you can have some fun in the process of doing the learning, but my job is to make sure that you are doing the learning. So you have to have great professors, you have to have great courses, you have to have those courses when you need them. So that's my job. Also, part of my job is to make sure that your interface, so your interaction with administration, is smooth. Of course, as a student, there's a lot of requirements that you have to fulfill. There's a lot of forms that you have to fill out. There's a lot of bureaucratic things that you have to do. It's my job. When you come to me, it's about, Dr. Malaquias, I have to do this and this and that. I need to know exactly what to tell you, so that your job, your life, it's a lot easier. One of the things that I completely am against is the runaround. I just don't like when my students go around and around and around in circles to sign this form or to sign that piece of paper. So I'm the anti-bureaucracy, I'm the anti-runaround. So that's really how I run my department. So that is in a nutshell. You're just making sure that everything runs well, runs smoothly. The other hat is the professor's hat. And that means that I teach. I do teach courses, and I love teaching courses. That's my love. Being in a classroom, that's my element. And I am very privileged to teach 2 courses every semester. In the fall semester, I usually teach a course on strategy and a course on Intro to Security Studies. And in the spring, I usually teach a course on Homeland Security and a course on Maritime Security. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what a professor does. Again, just to sum it all up, It's a combination, is a hybrid function, or is a hybrid position, in a sense that I wear my administrator's hat and I wear my professor's hat. As you can tell, my head is quite big, so both hats fit. So my advice to students who are thinking about going to college, specifically thinking about coming to Cal Maritime, pursuing careers in the maritime domain, my advice is that, this is probably the best choice you're about to make. And my advice is to pursue it without hesitation. Pursue it for a couple of reasons. First of all, we are a trading nation. And we are a trading nation successfully. We are a very successful trading nation. We are a very rich, very wealthy nation. And why is that? It's because our nation rules the waves. That's basically it. We rule the waves. All around the world, we rule the waves, and that enables us to really promote our prosperity as a nation and our security. And that's basically what Cal Maritime does. We provide our cadets, all of our cadets, with different toolboxes that enable them to help the nation rule the waves. Now, it's also a very profitable, as you can imagine, it's a very profitable career. The maritime sector is worth hundreds of billions of dollars in our nation. Throughout the world, it's in the trillions of dollars. So there's basically setting yourself up for a very successful career. Professionally, and in terms of the remunerations that come with it. And by remuneration, I just mean money, the salary that comes with it. It's very, very profitable. So I would say yes, it's a great choice that you are contemplating. It's a very good choice that you are thinking about pursuing. It's very, very exciting. The areas that I tend to focus on, remember I mentioned prosperity and security. I tend to focus on the security aspect of it. Which is absolutely fascinating, because we need to make sure that our operators, the humans, who are out there, they're safe. We need to make sure that the ships and the platforms they're operating on, they're safe. We need to make sure that the waters they're driving through, they're safe. The ports and so on. So that's just a fascinating area. For example, one of the things that we are focusing on a lot now, two key areas. One of them is automated ships. We are the very cusp of automation. In about 10, 15, certainly 20 years, many of the ships out there will have basically no humans on board, right? What are the implications of that? What are the implications of that in terms of the security of the ship, right? What are the implications of that in terms of where the ships are sailing? Now, say, for example, an automated ship malfunctions, right, as it's trying to dock into a port anywhere in the world, without an engineer on board, without a captain on board. But this is happening, right? This is happening. The other thing that we're also focusing on is the cyber element, where we all rely on IT. We all rely on information technology. It's all about computers, right? But that also creates a tremendous vulnerability, because in the cyber realm, just like in any other realm, you have the good guys and you have the bad guys. And the bad guys are always having a tremendous amount of fun irritating the good guys, basically making the good guys' lives really, really miserable. So in the maritime domain, we are seeing that pirates, for example, they're no longer well, they're moving away from using AK-47s, for example, to hijack a ship, right? Because that's kind of dangerous. Now they're using computers, just kind of hijacking a ship, making sure that the computer actually tells the ship where to go, so that it can be hijacked a lot more easily. So these are some of the things that we study. Yeah, these are some of the things that we do. It's a tremendous amount of fun because we live in a very, very exciting environment, and this is a fantastic sector to operate in. So one of the things that we do well here at Cal Maritime, well, we do a lot of things well, but one of the things that we ask our cadets to do as they are in a process of preparing themselves to be leaders in a maritime sector, in fact, leaders in a nation, is to step outside of their comfort zone. Step outside of the comfort zone by going to places that they would not otherwise go. Specifically, I'm talking about the international experience or study abroad. It's a requirement for this major. Each and every one of our majors goes abroad, spends 3 weeks abroad. And it's they all come back transformed. They all come back transformed because this is an opportunity to meet the other face to face on the other side of the world. How do they live? What do they eat? How do they interact with each other, and how do they interact with the world? How do they see us as Americans? So having that opportunity, having that as part of your major, it's absolutely critical because it gives you some very important glimpses into the other side of the world. And this is the world that we expect you to interact with. So you have to leave Cal Maritime with some competence in terms of other people's culture, other people's economics, other people's politics. How do they interact with their own environment? Do they have lessons that we can learn? So this is really part of your study. It's absolutely fascinating. I, for example, had the privilege to take, last time I did one of these, I took about 20 cadets to South Africa. I spent 3 weeks there. They couldn't believe it. It blew them away. The experience blew them away. And that was about, 3 years ago now. And they still talk about it. Some of them have already graduated. Sometimes they shoot me an email and say, "Prof, remember that experience in South Africa?" And so on. They're still processing it because it was so very powerful, so very, very powerful. And so this is one of the things we do. It was a 3-week experience, as I just mentioned. The processing of those experiences go much, much beyond 3 weeks. It takes a lifetime to process some of those experiences. So it's a window into the world out there. And you have choices, Vietnam, Australia, Costa Rica, Honduras, Europe. You have a lot of choices, but it's important. We feel that, in fact, not important, it's critical that you have that exposure to the world, because whether we like it or not, we will have to navigate the waters all around the world, and we better know where we're navigating, because we're not alone. We're not alone. We Americans, we like to think that that's just us. That's not it. There's a lot of other people, a lot of other nations out there. And we need to understand them from their point of view, from where they stand, not just from the American point of view, not just from where we stand.